Apple just announced its most affordable laptop ever, the MacBook Neo, but as exciting as it is missing one critical feature. Let's get into it. Starting at $599 or $499 for education, this is Apple's cheapest laptop they have ever made. But is Apple cheaping out on some of the fundamentals because it's low cost? Well, you're getting a full aluminum design in 4 bright, fun colors: blush, indigo, silver, and citrus. And these aren't just the exterior colors. The Magic Keyboard is going to be color matched with lighter tones. There are matching wallpapers, making it feel really like iMac-y, at least in my opinion. And I think it's probably one of the most colorful laptops that Apple's ever released. Now inside you're getting a 13-inch liquid retina display at 2048 by 1506 with 500 nits of brightness and 1 billion colors, along with 8 gigs of RAM and either 256 or 512 gigs of storage. Now you might debate me down in the comments, but I think that this is legitimately good and in no way is Apple cheaping out here. This is a good deal at that price point. Now the story here is that A18 is doing all of the heavy lifting. There are 2 USB-C ports, one of which is USB 3, another which is USB 2, a 1080p FaceTime camera, and a 16-core neural engine for Apple Intelligence. But here's the real kicker. It has 16 hours of battery life, all in a 2.7 pound package. Do you want to know what else weighs 2.7 pounds? It's a full bottle of wine. Yeah, that's right. The MacBook Neo is as much as a full bottle of wine. Now, what makes the MacBook Neo different from every other budget laptop that's on the market? So first, it's going to be the chip. Apple's putting in the A18 Pro, their flagship iPhone silicon. Not M series, not some stripped down version of the chip. This is the same chip that powers the iPhone 16 Pro, which if you think about it, it is actually wild. Second, the colors and the design language. This isn't trying to look like a MacBook Air or a Pro. The rounded corners, the playful color options. It feels like Apple is legitimately borrowing from the iPad playbook. It's approachable, it's fun, and it's not intimidating in any way. Third, and this is huge, it's the environmental story that they're telling here. The MacBook Neo is made from 60% recycled content, which is the highest percentage of any Apple product, 90% recycled aluminum. They're calling this the lowest carbon MacBook. But here's what is really different. Apple is finally admitting that there is a market for people who want to buy laptops that sits below the MacBook Air. For years, they've insisted that the Air is the bottom of the threshold at $1,099. And it's kind of like them saying, guys, listen, we can go lower and still deliver something that looks and feels premium. Now, most people are going to look at this and say, Mike, the A18 Pro, that is a phone processor inside of a laptop. It's going to be super slow. Well, stick around because we're going to talk about why the A18 Pro is actually going to be a genius choice in just a few minutes. Now, who is this actually for? First and foremost, students. This is the obvious one at $499 for education. You're getting a Mac that can handle everything from Google Docs to Final Cut Pro. That 16-hour battery life means that you are not hunting for power outlets in between classes. And the A18 Pro has enough juice for photo editing, light video work, coding, all the college stuff students really need to do. Second, families, and this is going to be huge. As much as we like to have multiple users on the iPad, you still cannot do that in 2026. And given its price, the MacBook Neo is really the low-cost alternative to a family iPad that everybody can share. Kids doing homework, parents paying bills, maybe some casual photo editing. This absolutely nails that use case. The colors make it feel less serious, more approachable for kids. And then third, it's going to be switchers. What Apple's doing here is super smart. Chromebooks dominated the education market for several years because they were just cheap and simple. Really, this is Apple's way of saying, guys, for $100 or $200 more, you can get a real Mac with real software and actual longevity in your hardware and software. Now, fourth, new creators. If you're just starting on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, whatever the kids are doing these days, you don't need a MacBook Pro. You need something that runs all of the software and doesn't choke. Well, thanks to the A18 Pro's neural engine, means you can get Photoshop filters, you can do all the magic enhancements inside of Final Cut Pro or in Logic, and it really makes sense now when you think about how Apple's positioning Creator Studio. That software plus this laptop probably makes the best creator laptop that you can get for the money. Now, about that chip choice I teased earlier, all these use cases demonstrate the flexibility of the A18 Pro and why it's a brilliant choice. It's fanless, it's completely silent, there are 0 moving parts. That means fewer points of failure, better reliability over time. And because it's Apple Silicon, Apple already is making millions of these chips every year. The economies of scale are there and they can keep costs down while still delivering real performance in this small form factor. It's not a compromise, it is a completely different design philosophy that just happens to work perfectly at this price point. And the MacBook Neo rounds out the trio of products that have been released this week, coming in at $599. People say products are getting more expensive. I would say that it doesn't really feel that way. So am I buying one? Well, I already did. I bought that wonderful citrus color because it feels like it's the most new color that they offer, and indigo and blush are just okay, but citrus feels like it's actually making a statement. Now, why did I buy it? I did go ahead and buy it as not to replace my main machine, but as an experiment to see how I can actually use it to replace my iPad. Something I use as a travel laptop, something I throw in my bag, and not necessarily worry about it getting all dinged up. All day long, I think that this is the choice, so get subscribed if you want to see how that works out. Now, I bought the $699 version with Touch ID, 8 gigs of RAM, and the 512 gigs of storage. Now, remember at the beginning when I talked about that I think that this is missing one critical feature? Here's what it is. Now, right now, the MacBook Neo is A series only, but I wouldn't rule out that within 12 to 18 months, as the processors get more power efficient, we could see things like the MacBook Neo Pro, or maybe Apple's testing the waters with iPhone silicon, and we'd get cellular connectivity on the MacBook Neo. An LTE or a 5G MacBook Neo would be a killer product, especially where Wi-Fi is spotty or weak. I also think it's possible to see a Neo design language across the lineup, this color palette. Totally love it. It's approachable, and we're going to see it spread. Maybe the Mac Mini, maybe the iMac Neo. Apple's known for creating sub-brands within their products, and this could just be the beginning of that. Now, that cellular MacBook thing, this is the one thing I am genuinely excited for. I love to have it on my MacBook because I love it on my iPad. If you have cellular on your iPad, let me know down in the comments below because it just works everywhere you go. No hunting for Wi-Fi. MacBook Neo pre-orders start today, apple.com, $599 for the base model, $499 for education. And as of this video, which is 12:10 p.m. on March 4th, all of the dates are still shipping on March 11th. Now, do you think that Apple's budget MacBook Play is going to work? Let me know down in the comments below. If you want to catch up on all of Apple's spring events, I got a playlist here which has them all. My name is Mike. Make sure you get subscribed for the hands-on, which will happen next week. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.